Hello guys, Michael here with another video. So if you want to be good at conversations, really good, and you're now so good that you don't have to think about what you hear, what you're listening to, you don't have to think about what kind of questions you are asking, what kind of other type of empathetic listening skills, listening tools that you are using. You don't have to think about any of that because it comes just automatically with you being very curious and interested towards the other person. That skill would transform your life massively because we're living in the world today where personal connection with other people are so important that it's hard to imagine any other skill that can be more valuable for you than this particular skill on how to communicate with other people based on real things. So how can we get there? How can we be really good at this? Well, to start with, this is not an intellectual exercise. Well, obviously you have to read about the foundation of communication. You have to read about every element that makes conversation good and the theoretical foundation behind it. But even though you know the foundation of interpersonal communication skills, empathetic conversational skills, and you will also understand the practical aspect of it, that is a completely different thing than you being able to actually execute it. You might know about it quite well, but you can't execute it because being good at this, well, it's not an intellectual exercise that is needed. It's a practical exercise that is needed. And in order to be really good at those elements, you have to practice every single one of them over and over again for quite some time in order to make them stick in your head. All right? So when you want to create a habit of doing things that they're actually going to be a part of your brain, you have to take few variables and repeat it over and over and over again. And once that becomes a habit, you now going to focus about another habit and do the same thing with that habit. Not too many variables in the same time, a couple of few variables that you're going to get really good at. And then after a while, when you combine all those variables, you're going to achieve something we call cognitive flexibility. That is when you can have a conversation without thinking. Everything is there and you become like a superhero for yourself because the way you can influence people to feel good when they're talking to you is just extraordinary. And this is a skill that you will be alone to have because there are so few people that knows how to communicate properly in a practical sense that comes automatic that of everyone you see around, you will be the only one. But first, remember, you have to take things step by step. All right. Many people do the mistake of taking too many variables at the same time, try to drill them in. And once they go out there and try to execute it, they fail because they have to think so hard about every single element that it's not an automated process. And therefore, it feels unnatural. It feels a little bit like you are trying too hard. And then in worst case scenario, you give up because you feel like you can't comprehend so many different variables. And when you do something that doesn't come naturally, that doesn't come from the basis of who you are, the other person will respond to it as well. And what is that response? Well, it is a negative reinforcement, making your brain feel like something is off here. And that is something you don't want to feel when you're talking to beautiful women, attractive women. It's a nightmare, basically. So it's very important to go, I'm not saying that you're going to go slow with it, but you have to take it in order. When you have step number 1 nailed down, really nailed down, then you will be able to take step number 2, which is going to involve step number 1 and then add a new behavior as step number 2. Once that new behavior, new variable, new element of step number 2 is learned in a habit form that is now stuck in your head in an automated basis, now you have step 1 and step 2 clear. And you're going to keep using step 1 and step 2. And then you're going to add another variable that you're going to focus on, which is step number 3. And you're going to focus about the step number 3 together with using the step number 1 and step number 2. And therefore, you're growing on a steady basis until you achieve mastery. You see, I know that many of you guys want to make this quick. You want to be able to do it very fast. I can tell you this. One thing you can do pretty fast is to, in some way, make a roadmap from where you are and where you want to be. However, you cannot skip any steps. You really have to nail down every single steps until you really learned in those new behaviors in your brain to become automatic. And we want to achieve cognitive flexibility where you're not thinking at all. You're just curious about other people. You can apply tools to make that curiosity into a huge reality by finding out things that you're curious about. Because being curious is a skill set itself. If you just say to yourself that you want to be curious and you have not been training, you have not been studying communication, you don't even know what to be curious about. It's easy to think that you're curious, but without the real steps in order to utilize being curious in the best possible way in conversations, you won't get anywhere. So this video is all about making sure that you understand that this is a process that needs to be taken step by step in order to make sure that every single element will be automated in your brain as a habit, and with those combined we achieve cognitive flexibility. Anyway guys, I hope you like this video. Subscribe, all right? If you like this content, subscribe, and I see you in the next video.